Today I'm joined by Lisa Norton, the founder of Harrogate Garden Design. Lisa, do you want to explain a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Lisa Norton from Harrogate Garden Design, as you've just said. um, yeah, so I'm a garden designer based in Harrogate, as the name explains. Yeah, basically predominantly covering the Harrogate and surrounding areas, looking at garden designs, anything from people who have a budget of anything from about 10k up to probably 150 maybe would be probably the maximum that we would take on, really. So yeah, there's a lot of need for it, I think, especially with the amount of new builds that are going up and people just recognizing since COVID that they want to be in nature and how beneficial it is to us all, really.
Can you briefly kind of explain your journey into garden design?
I haven't always done this. I had a career change about 7 years ago, I think. Now I changed. Yes, I was in sales and marketing before, and then just really was just so well as a freelancer. I used to work for companies in London, did quite a lot of traveling, and I did a lot of desk work. And I just got really fed up with kind of just feeling like I wasn't being pushed, and also just doing the same. It felt like I was doing the same stuff over and over. And then I did like an interior design course, and I've always loved like making my house look nice, and but wanted to put kind of a bit of the theory behind it. And absolutely loved that, but then thought, well, for some reason I thought interior design wasn't right. I think it's quite a competitive market, and nature is just really, really important to me. And I spent a lot of my childhood in nature, and I then started on my own garden, and I think it all just spiraled from there, really. So I did a diploma in garden design, which was like a year-long course. And then I went on to do my RHS level 2 exams, which were harder than I thought they were going to be, but very, very useful. And then I trained more recently in Biophilic design level 4, so I got my qualification in that, which is really helping me to put some kind of well-being into our designs, really.
So, for those who might not know, can you explain what biophilic design is and why it's important for you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry. I know most people don't know what it is, which is really, really nice to me because it is like an education piece. So I don't know if you've heard of biophilia. Not many people have even know what biophilia means. It's quite a new term, kind of came around in the 60s, more established in the 80s. So it basically means a human's innate need to be amongst nature, and it's felt universally by humankind. So it's really powerful that every single human on this planet has a need to be in nature so that we can function physically and mentally at our best. So biophilic design looks at it from a scientific perspective, as in like what elements of nature affect us positively, and then incorporating that into design principles. So there are design principles that you follow to basically create it creates a space which you become emotionally attached to, which is a really beautiful thing to be able to give to people.
How does being trained in biophilic design kind of set you apart from other garden designers?
I think some designers do have knowledge and experience of biophilic design, because I think it's part of some of the courses that are out there. But I think the fact that I've actually done a full level 4 in it means that I suppose it's just the way I approach everything is it's an educated perspective of, I know that the spaces that I create for my clients will give them the ultimate relaxing experience. So, where they sit, how they get there, what's in the pathways, what materials we use, all that type of thing. And yeah, it's great to kind of know that we've got the knowledge of it, but then when you create it, it's lovely because the clients, like, you just go around and they're just, I mean, I think that's the thing when somebody's got a nice garden, that happens anyway, but it's just that added level of well-being really being the thread through our designs.
And kind of with that, what does your process for designing gardens look like?
So I suppose it's a typical process of the client would get in touch. We would then establish, what they're looking for, what extent of design they're looking for, and then if there's a match with regards to what we offer and what they want, we'd go out, have a consultation, discuss what their needs are. We'd look at the space, look at existing things in the garden, look at the landscape, look at how we can blend with the landscape, and how we can basically bring our expertise to create that sort of environment. So we do a consultation, and then we would go away after the survey's been done, do like a 2D concept plan. So that would give the client a good idea of the functionality of it, make sure we're fitting their needs, the zones, any zones, idea of planting, materials, features, maybe water features, sculptures, that type of thing, depending on what the budget is, obviously. And then once the client was happy with that layout, then we work it up into like a 3D model. So then they can see how that looks in 3D, which is really great. People get very excited about it. A client messaged me yesterday and said that I just sent the 3Ds over, which, don't get me wrong, it does take a while to create those. And I sent them over, and she said it actually made her cry a bit. And I was just like, it's so nice to be able to give that and to be able to see it before it's actually built. So we do the 3Ds, and then we'll do if the client wants to do that level of service, we would do full construction plans, which then lets the landscaper give an accurate quote, basically, so the client can book in a landscaper to carry out the work.
Based on your kind of portfolio, is there any project that you're particularly proud of?
There's one that we did. It was quite a small one in it's Little Ribston, which is near Wetherby. And I think it was like 4x3 little courtyard. So it was, when I first went, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with this? And then she wanted like a Mediterranean courtyard type. So we created like a Mediterranean haven. So we built like a custom water feature using fired earth, like Mediterranean inspired tiles. We did some detailing where we put the tiles on the riser of the step, and just created some, it's called ordered complexity from a design perspective. So when you're in a space, just the tiny little details give you that kind of level of attention. And so we did that, and then just thinking about the journey. So actually we converted it from being a really sort of gloomy, dated courtyard into like a spruced up, and it was really functional as well. You could easily seat like 6 people in it as well. So it was, and we won an award for that actually through the I think we got the silver merit through the APL awards last year. I love all the projects that we work on, to be honest.
What are some of your favourite plants to kind of work into a garden, and why?
I suppose it depends how much space you've got and what the theme is as well, because we very much base it on what if the client has a specific thing. If they want like a tropical garden, we'd go a bit more larger leaves, green, in which case I'd use like a Fatsia japonica. I like those. But my favourite plants at the moment, because it does change, my favourite plants at the moment are one called Actea Queen of Sheba, which it's quite a late flowering, but it gets really tall. It's about 2.5 meters tall, and it's got purple, really stunning purple leaves and like white spike flowers. But I actually saw it at Bridgewater, the RHS Bridgewater Gardens, and the scent is absolutely divine. So that's definitely one of my favourites at the moment. Verbena, grasses, Stipa tenuissima is one of my favourites. The floaty kind of grasses. So I've got quite a lot of favourites, but again, it depends on what we're trying to achieve in the space, really.
For those who are looking to redesign their gardens or outdoor spaces, what are some pieces of advice that you'd give them initially?
I would say plan ahead, definitely. Like if you want in a garden in 6 months' time, and you wanting to invest in the design process, then it's not going to happen. Like it can take anything from 6 months to 2 years from initial design starting through to getting a design built. So I just say always plan ahead as much as you can, and have a really good think about what your favourite places are to be. How are you emotionally attached to those? Have you got some favourite trees? those types of things that you'd like to maybe bring into your space, and what your favourite kind of areas of the garden are as well. I mean, obviously we base it on like where the sun position is and things and what your actual functionality is, but I think it's just getting a feel for your own space where you know, like, oh, that corner, I really love that corner, and but definitely planning ahead, getting a good, just doing your research designers, research landscapers, and you can never be too early when it comes to starting the ball rolling, basically.
Obviously, it's now getting a lot colder. Do you have any tips for preparing a garden for winter or for the colder months of the year?
I would say composting is a great idea for preparing for the spring, really. So you can use a lot of your leaves and things, which are just everywhere in my garden at the moment. I desperately need to have a tidy up. So I've got one of these hot bins, the compost bins, which I think it composts in about 6 months. So I think it's really good to do that, because then you can mulch like late autumn with that compost. And I mean, the amount of vegetable cuttings that we put in there, and grass and leaves, it just feels like it obviously just gets compacted down. So you just get, it would be so much actual physical waste that I'd be putting in the bin. And I'm actually putting good use to it. When my compost is ready, like at the end of the winter, I'll mulch in the early spring and then just give all those nutrients to my plants, and it gives them such a good start. So I'd definitely say composting is a great thing to consider, because leaves are just, they're so messy, but you can make such good use of them.
How do you see the future of garden design evolving, especially with kind of increased urbanization and the environmental challenges that are now kind of creeping up on everyone?
Yeah, I think we just need to be really mindful of what materials we're using, where they're coming from. Try and buy local, I think is the key, really, wherever we can. It's quite hard when obviously looking at things like porcelain and stuff like that, but try and reduce emissions, using natural materials, trying to recycle things that you've already got, just having a bit of a creative way of looking at things. I think that's a good way to approach it. But I think also things like green roofs and living walls, which I'm really passionate about, can have a huge impact, especially in the cities, like London, where they've got a huge like urban heat island effect. We can really help with the wildlife, and obviously the air temperature as well, and flooding as well. So I think green roofs and living walls are, a really good option, particularly if you're living in cities.
What's next for you? Are there any upcoming projects that you're currently working on that you can share or would like to share?
Yeah, I'm actually working with, it's a little bit of a diversion when it comes to garden design. So I'm working with a school trust. It's a SEND school trust in South Yorkshire. And it's the first fully biophilic school of its kind in this country. So I've been really lucky enough to get involved in that, and I've designed the inside and the outside. So we've built for the phase one, which has been refurbished, and we bought kind of tree trunks inside, and we've made the carpets all nature inspired and everything. And then we've got an extension which is due to be finished in February. And that's had pretty much free reign with regards to that. We've got curved walls and all sorts of things going on in there, because we've had free reign with that. And then the outdoors as well. So we've created for me, like a truly biophilic outdoors, which is really functional for the children. So I feel like I really want to do more in education, because I've got children at school, and I know the education system is struggling quite a bit in a lot of children are struggling, and I think I just want to be able to give some of this knowledge and some of this to the kids and the teachers, just to help their well-being, really. So I'm working with the trust and working on a few of their schools, and then I don't know, we'll just see where that goes. But I'm also doing the garden design, and I've just got another designer that I'm working with, who's freelance. She's just come out of, she's called Willow. She's come out of the Yorkshire School of Garden Design. So she's going to be doing some of the garden design whilst I'm doing some of the school work as well. So I don't know, we'll just see where it goes and go with the flow a bit, really. But it's all quite exciting.
Is there anywhere our viewers can reach you if they want to get in touch or kind of keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. Instagram's probably my most active channel. It's Harrogate Garden Design. And then my website, you can get in touch with me on there. And then I've also just set up a new Instagram for my Biophilic, which is called Biophilic Designer on Instagram. But that's more for the education sector. So yeah, those are the channels really.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you.